everybody! Today's video is going to be a hair question and answer. I asked the girls on Pigmented Facebook group, and if you don't know what Pigmented is, I will leave down below a couple videos. One is going to be from Vanessa Vad is Rad here on YouTube, and another one is from Niki Murphy, so you can go ahead and check those out. But really quick, I'm just going to tell you, it is a beauty community forum. Basically, it's a Facebook page where they sort of help you connect with brands if you have a certain amount of subscribers, and it's just a community where everybody can sort of talk and give each other advice and everything like that. So like I said, I'll leave those videos down below and you can go ahead and check those out if you are interested. Moving on to the hair questions, I do have quite a few here. I'm going to be leaving who left them like right here so you guys can see who left these questions from Pigmented. So the first one is, what are some of your favorite hair products for hair growth? And I really like oils. I like Moroccan oil, I like the Matrix Wonder oils, I like coconut oil, which is the cheapest alternative that you can use. Those aren't necessarily going to make your hair grow faster, but they do help in nourishing your hair, keeping it protected from heat and things like that. Another thing is heat protectants, and I have the Stylist Sexy Hair one right here that I've used. I've used other ones obviously, but any hair protectant really is going to help protect your hair against the heat from when you are blow drying and straightening or curling, anything like that. Another thing I will say is not washing your hair every day if your hair does not get oily fast. I know some people do have to wash their hair every day, which is completely fine because you don't want oil building up on your scalp also, because that will sort of clog hair follicles. But I go every other day and that seems to help. Like right now I'm on third day hair. I do still have to wash my hair today. I really can't go any more than every other day, but it really does keep your hair healthy because you're not going to be heat styling it as much. And that's another thing. If you can go without heat styling, I would recommend doing that as often as possible. And let me see, I know there's other things I can mention. Using a clarifying shampoo is a good one. It's obviously, like I said before, not going to make your hair grow faster, but it's going to keep your scalp clean, which in turn will help your hair grow healthier. So those are a few of my tips for that. And then she also said, I have darker skin and dark brown hair. I don't see a lot of people with my skin tone adding major color to their hair. Are there any colors you would recommend to fit my skin tone and hair color? They could be neutral or unusual colors. And the one thing I will say is, I'm not a firm believer in only going 2 levels up or 2 levels down from your natural. Obviously, my hair is naturally in between a level 6 and a 7, which is like a dark blonde, light brown color. And I'm pretty blonde right now. I'd say like I'm a level 8 or 9. So I'm not like a strict firm believer in that, but what I will say, when you have darker hair, it is a lot harder to go like my color blonde, just because it's probably not going to fit your skin tone as much and it's going to be a lot of maintenance. What I will say, if you have natural colored hair, you can also use like 2 levels down. Like say you're a level 1 or 2, you can use a level like 3 natural or neutral brown, and that will lighten up your hair a little bit. It will probably be on the warm side because when you are lifting hair with color or even bleach, it is more than likely going to pull a warmer tone just because of underlying pigments in the hair. But I would also recommend trying to stick with like a level 4 at the lightest, just with your skin tone, and I think that will work. Also, what I really like is red on dark hair. I'm a really big fan of, maybe not like the bright Rihanna red, but I really like the darker, brighter reds, if that makes any sense. If I can find a picture like on Pinterest, I can leave that in the description box if you guys want to check it out if I do find one. But it is more of a darker red with still like some brightness. I think that's really pretty in darker hair also. The next question is, what products do you recommend for people with extremely thick, frizzy hair? What hair straightener do you recommend? And I'm just going to go over the hair straightener that I recommend just because it's going to be a quick answer. I love my GHD. I've tried Chi in the past, which was pretty good, but I absolutely love my GHD. And just for reference, this is mine here. It is a part of the Candy collection, and it is just a really good professional flat iron, and it doesn't get tangled in my hair ever. It doesn't really fry my hair, or it doesn't damage it from what I can tell. I use a heat protectant like I said, but I don't notice any damage from flat ironing. It curls really good. It flat irons my hair really fast. And it does have ceramic technology, which I really like, so any sort of GHD I would definitely recommend. And for the products that I would recommend for extremely thick or frizzy hair, or frizzy hair, I really like hair oils. Like I said, those work awesome. There are also products that you can use on curly hair if you want to keep like a curl in your hair. They are normally called curl creams, which I absolutely love. I also like smoothing cream for like aftercare when you are done styling your hair. So I would recommend any kind of oil for when your hair is damp. Obviously, a heat protectant is going to be a huge part in getting rid of the frizziness before you do blow dry and flat iron or curl or whatever it is that you do. And then a styling cream afterward, like the bedhead, the TG bedhead after party is a really good one. Anything like that that's going to smooth the flyaways for when you are done styling is also really nice. And the next question is, what is the problem you see most with your clients? And if you guys don't know, I am a licensed cosmetologist, and I said that on the Pigmented page, but for everybody else that doesn't know, I am licensed and it is my job. I work in a salon. So I would say that the number one problem I see is people coming in and not really knowing how to handle their hair, or they want a style that does not go well with their hair texture. And obviously, if you don't go to school or you're not really knowledgeable in hair, then obviously you won't know that. And I do try to give as much advice as possible to clients that come in, even if they're just walk-ins that go like hop from salon to salon, which is totally fine. I was that person in high school. But I always try to give my advice because I find that if I give my best advice to somebody, the more they come in, the more it's going to help me also, because they have control on their hair also, if that makes any sense. Like if they are not using the proper shampoo and conditioner or styling tools or products or anything, it's going to be more work for me to have to do when they do come into the salon. So the number one thing I would say is people just not understanding their hair, and I hope that answers your question. That is the number one thing I personally find, that when clients come in, they're just not as knowledgeable as maybe they should be or want to be. What is the best shampoo and conditioner and hair mask for unnaturally colored hair? And by unnaturally colored, she means like red, blue, pink, etc. Things like that. So I would recommend any kind of shampoo and conditioner that is sulfate free. First off and foremost, sulfates really get deep in the hair and really cleanse the scalp. But if you have colored treated hair, especially brighter colors like that, you definitely need to invest in a sulfate-free shampoo, and paraben-free also. It's just going to really help keep the color locked in a little bit better. Obviously, those colors fade really fast regardless of what you do, but as the number one thing I would recommend is just any sort of sulfate-free and paraben-free shampoo and conditioner. For a hair mask, I would recommend anything that is meant for color-treated hair. I am a huge Pureology fan of their hair masks. I definitely love them. They make my hair feel so soft, and I noticed that my color has been staying a lot better since I started using them a few months ago. Another thing you could use is coconut oil. I think that would really be beneficial also, just to really nourish the hair. When you have nourished hair, color does tend to stay a lot better and longer. So as long as you're using products that are good for your hair, you should be good to go. Another thing I want to say, since we aren't talking about bright colors or unnatural colors, washing your hair way less is definitely going to be beneficial on this. Also, only shampooing like once or twice a week if you can go that long, just because the more you wash your hair, the more you're going to see that color go down the drain. The next question is, or it's more like a statement: my mother has extremely thin gray hair. What do you recommend for a confidence boost if she feels self-conscious about her hair? And this is a big one. I've noticed even people coming into the salon, like clients just coming into the salon, and there is a product out there. It's a few different brands. If I find one, I can leave it down below, but it is basically a hair fiber, and they come in like all different colors, but that is something you can use to, like, it almost like fills in the gaps of where the thin parts are. But another thing that she can do is, when you, I don't know if she has short or long hair, but I noticed that when people come in and they have really thin hair and they have long hair, it looks even thinner just because there's so much weight on the bottom and not as much by their scalp. So having a shorter haircut, not like a completely buzzed, obviously, that's not gonna boost your confidence at all, but having a shorter haircut is going to give it a little bit more lift. I would also not recommend using like hairspray or anything heavy on the hair that's going to weigh down the hair. I understand it's sort of hard not to use hairspray for some people, and I'm not sure if she does or not. Like I said, I don't know her complete situation, but I noticed that hairspray, when people with thin hair use it and we go to comb it out, a lot of hair does fall out, and you do have about 100 hairs lost per day, like give or take. And I noticed using hairspray, it has a lot of alcohol in it, and it's going to help shed that hair even more, which you do not want. So I would just recommend, if she's looking for a confidence booster, I would maybe recommend those fibers, or something along those lines that's going to help. And also tell her that she's beautiful no matter what. I think that hair loss is more of a problem than people seem to think, and I understand that it is a huge thing when somebody like looks at you and you can tell they're looking at your hair if you do have thinning hair, but just let her know she's beautiful no matter what, and that is really the only thing I can say. Oh, and before I forget, I do want to say her not coloring her hair because you said she has gray hair is probably the best option. I know before my grandma passed, the last few years, she didn't color her hair and her hair grew back really nicely. So I do want to say that if she were to color her hair, that might not help also. So I would not recommend using an actual color on her hair. That's another thing I do want to say. The next question or statement is, what is the best way to actually cut, layer, and style very thick, coarse hair? My hair is really hard to manage. I feel like I always have to cut it short in order to control it. I think I found a shampoo and conditioner that will work for me. It's from L'Oreal Sulfate Free line. Sadly, it's 8 ounces a bottle and almost $7 a piece. Are there cheaper alternatives at the drugstore that you would recommend? So this is a multi-question, I guess you can say. So the first one, what is the best way to actually cut, layer, and style very thick, coarse hair? And like you said, you keep it short because you feel like that's the best way to control it. And I wouldn't recommend having super long hair because it's obviously going to be a lot of work to control it, but you don't always have to go short. Something I would recommend, like you said, how to actually cut, layer, and style. Having too many layers is going to make it look even bigger. And then I would also recommend getting it thinned out or texturized. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the term thinned out, but what that does is get rid of a lot of bulk, and I don't like thinning out near the scalp. Like, I know a lot of people, when they do it, my hair is down, so it's hard to, or my hair is pulled back, so it's hard to kind of tell you exactly, but I don't like cutting like super close to the scalp, because what it does is like a week later when your hair has grown a little bit, your hair ends up looking a little bit bigger because those short hairs are pushing out the longer hairs, if that makes sense. So what I like to do is only do it from like the mid-lengths to the ends, and that's going to get rid of bulk toward the bottom of the hair and make it lay a little bit nicer. And like I said, I wouldn't layer it too much. Layers will definitely help, but I wouldn't have like super short layers because that's just going to look sort of like a bowl. Or on most people, that's what it kind of looks like, is more like a bowl. So I wouldn't recommend a ton of layers, but I would recommend some layers. And I wouldn't really recommend going anywhere longer than like boob length, or else you're really gonna have to work with your hair. Like I said, texturizing is a big key for when I cut hair like that. With styling, I know sometimes with thick, coarse hair, it's hard to flat iron, so I would recommend either going more of a natural route, like with a diffuser, with like curl cream or a smoothing cream, anything like that. Or if you do want a flat iron, I would recommend not going for the pin straight look, but more of just like the tasseled, not like sleek or anything, just more of a messy look, I guess you can say. So that's how I would style hair like that, because you don't want to be battling your hair every morning either. Okay. Now, I want to say, as a hairstylist, I spend a crap ton of money on hair products, like shampoos, conditioners, everything. So for me, I guess when I see 8-ounce bottle and almost $7, to me that's not that much because I spend a lot on hair products. But I know for the average person that probably is a lot. So what I would recommend is, if you liked that the sulfate free, you think it's working for you, but it's a lot of money using the L'Oreal one, I would recommend just trying different brands out, like trying a smaller size. I know if you go to the travel and trial section, you might be able to find something there, and it would be like a really small tube or bottle, and you'd be able to try it before you bought the big size. And like I said, sulfate free is good. I've already said that in this video, and I do recommend that, but I don't really have any specific recommendations for you just because I have not used drugstore products in over 5 years. So I'm not really sure what they have now, and I'm really not sure of their prices. But if that is too much for you to spend, I would just recommend going through and looking for other sulfate-free shampoos. What you can even do is like have a basket or a cart and grab all the sulfate-free shampoos and even have like a list, name them, write how much they cost per ounce, and kind of weigh it out to see if there is a better option for you to try. But like I said, I really do apologize that I don't have a specific answer for that last part of the question. And the last statement is, because there is a few different questions within this one, is how often should you really go to the salon for a trim? This is the only reason I go. Should I go more often? I just want healthy hair. I don't need any styles or dyes. What things should I do at home for healthy hair to maintain until I see my stylist again? So this is basically about keeping your hair healthy and trims. So the number one thing I would say is if you are trying to maintain your length, I would get my hair cut every 4 to 6 weeks. If you're trying to grow it out, I would go anywhere from 6 to 8 or 8 to 12. I really would not go anywhere beyond 12 because you are going to see more damage beyond that point, especially if you are heat styling. I know some people can go like 6 months or a year without cutting, but if you do look through your hair, you more than likely do have split ends, which you cannot repair. I know there are products out there that like split mend or split end menders and things like that. Those are crap. They do not work. It is just basically coating your hair to make it look healthier, but it's not actually repairing your hair. There's really nothing you can do to repair your hair unless you just like literally cut the dead ends off. So like I said, anywhere from like 4 to 12 weeks depending on your situation. And should I go more often? You didn't really say how often you go, but like I said, anywhere from 4 weeks to 12 weeks, just depending on your situation. And I just want healthy hair. I don't need any styles or dyes. What things should I do at home? Okay. And what things should you do at home for healthy hair? I really recommend hair masks. I know the drugstore has them. Like I said in the previous question, I haven't tried drugstore products, so I can't really recommend you any. But I know there are a ton of hair masks or deep conditioners at the drugstore that you can try if you are not willing to spend a lot of money. And I'm gonna leave a video down below of all of my hair products, or like my what's in my shower, and you guys can like check out what I use on my hair because I say in that video what I use. And another thing you can do is use coconut oil, and I already mentioned this in another question, but coconut oil is cheap. You can find it in your baking aisle. I think I got mine. It's like a pretty big tub, like that big of a tub, and it lasts over a year for me, and it only cost I think $5 or $6. I know Trader Joe's has one, and I would definitely recommend an organic or extra virgin coconut oil. Those are going to be best for your hair. So I would recommend doing that. I would also recommend not washing your hair every day like I mentioned before, and I would recommend doing less heat styling like I also said before. So I would definitely recommend all of those things that I already answered in another question, and I'm trying to think of anything else I can say. I can't think of anything else I have to say, and like I said, that was the last question. I plan on doing more of these if you guys are interested, so if you have any other questions, leave them down below and I might do a part 2 to this. But like I said, those are the questions I have so far. I hope those answered all of your questions. If it did not, you go ahead and ask away down in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out a little bit. If you haven't subscribed already, I would really appreciate if you would, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye everybody.